Happy Wednesday, third grade. It's so good to see you guys. I had so much fun going and looking at some of your comments that you had posted on my video. Thank you for those. It's so good to hear from you. You guys are so kind to me, and I just hope that you are having fun as well getting to do the art projects that we are creating together here. Remember that you can take a picture and post if you are really proud of how your product turned out. You can post it to Seesaw, or you can just send me an email. You can have your parents show you how to do that, or ask them nicely if they'll send it for you, okay? Because I would love to see what you're doing. All right, so we're gonna continue on here. We're gonna be doing step 2 of our positive and negative space flowers. Okay, so everybody should have their flower that they had cut out. Oops, I see that mine has some little straggles. There we go. Their flower that they had cut out, and then we had traced it. Okay, so everyone should be at this step. If you're not at this step, make sure that you get that stencil traced onto your final paper here, because we're going to be starting to add our design in the background in our positive space to reveal the negative space of our flower. Okay, so let's get started. Make sure that you have your flower that has been traced out. You will need a black marker. You can choose for it to be a black Sharpie marker, which is what I prefer, or if you just have a black Crayola marker, that is fine too, but any kind of black marker will do for this. You will also need a pencil, okay? And the final tool you'll need is a coloring tool of your choice. Okay, now I am going to be doing crayons. Markers will work just fine. If you want to do watercolor paint, you can do that, or colored markers. I said colored markers already, but colored pencils will work too. Okay, so whatever you would like, but just know that Miss B is using crayons today. All right, let's get started on the second part of our positive and negative space flowers. Let's go. All right, so everyone should have their flower here. I'm going to take off my stencil. Okay, so you had traced your stencil flower. So what is left is the outline of your flower, and we had put P's and N's to show where our positive and where our negative space is going to be. I did forget to say that this background is also going to be a positive space. Now remember, we had talked about positive space, meaning there's going to be a lot of detail. Anywhere where there's going to be a P, you want to make sure there's going to be detail. Now we're going to be showing the detail using different lines and different colors. Okay, so first off, let's look at some examples of lines. Okay, so these lines you will see are all different, and they all create something that is interesting. Okay, we have just a thin black line, we have a thick, bold black line, zigzag, polka dot line, swirly, oh, I did 2 zigzags, so that must be another zigzag line. I made this line using hearts. I just did a heart, and then I turned it upside down. I did a heart upside down, and I just went back and forth. I made a line using shapes. I made a dashed line, and then I did a large dashed line. Now there are lots of other lines that you can choose from, but these are just some examples for you to look at if you get stuck and you're not sure what other kind of lines to use when you are decorating and creating the detail in your positive space flower. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of set that to the side so I can still look at it. And here we have our flower ready for design. Okay, the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna grab your pencil, and we are gonna be dividing our positive space into different sections. Okay, so the first thing you're gonna do is start up in the left-hand corner and draw a diagonal line that goes all the way to the other corner. Now, when I hit my flower, you're gonna lift up your pencil, and then where it shows the P again, keep continuing that line through the P, lift. We're just imagining there's a line. Oh, it looks like it comes through this P as well. and continue on. Okay, so you can see that line goes into anything that is a positive space. Okay, so that's one diagonal line through whatever your flower looks like. Second, we're gonna break up this right side so it's a little bit different. So starting on the left side of your paper, draw a diagonal line all the way to this top of the paper somewhere. It doesn't need to be exactly the same as Miss B's, that's just fine. Okay, next we are going to start on the left side again, and this time we're going to do another diagonal line that's going to go all the way to our flower. Stop. Mine goes through the middle. Imagine it goes all the way through and continues on to this side. And then finally, we're going to do a line at the bottom left corner. Draw that diagonal. Stop when it hits the flower. Through the middle. This one goes through that P as well as all the way up to there. Okay, so you will see that I have different sort of triangle shapes in the background. You could keep breaking it up even more if you would like to keep adding different ones in there, but I'm going to keep mine with these shapes here. So now is the time when you can erase all of your P's because you don't really need those anymore because you can kind of see what is a positive space now. I'm going to keep my ends there just to remind myself what is still my negative space. As you start adding your detail and your color, you will see that it becomes easier to see where the negative space is. Okay, now I'm going to take my black marker that we had talked about before, and I'm going to use a ruler. You don't have to use a ruler if you don't want to, but I'm just going to use a ruler, and I'm going to copy those lines that I had just drawn. All right, so now that you have drawn the black lines in the background, you are really starting to see your negative space pop out there. And you will see that maybe there's some extra lines that were left behind. You can erase those extra lines if you want to erase those, just so that it's all the black line nice and clean. Okay, so now what you're going to be doing is inside each of these sections, you are going to be creating patterns using these different line styles that we had shown before. Okay, so what does that look like? I'm going to start in this corner here. Okay, so I'm going to start by doing a thin line, and then a thick line, and then I think I'm going to do like a polka dot line, zigzag. Then I'm going to repeat that. Thin line, thick line. My thick line, you see my bold one, I have to kind of color that in. Then polka dot. And then finally zigzag. Okay, and you see that that filled up my entire shape there. I'm gonna continue in each of these other positive shapes, creating different patterns of those lines. Okay, so you see here that I finished creating my line design around the positive space of my flower. Do you see how now the flower in the middle has now just kind of popped out, and you see that all the white shape and the white outline of it, that is called the negative space. Remember, there's no detail in there. Okay, now you can see that I changed the direction of which ways I put my lines just to make it a little bit more interesting. Okay, so now what you're gonna do is you're gonna be adding color. So let's see how we add color. Okay, so I told you that I was gonna be adding color using colored crayons. Now I'm going to pick my colors out ahead of time. You can choose whatever colors you would like here. I think I'm gonna do a lot of kind of rainbow ones. So I'm gonna do, well, I don't know, maybe I'll do a pattern now that I think of it. Remember, a pattern can consist of as many colors as you would like, but they alternate. So how about, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try purple, blue, and orange. Okay, now the way that you're gonna be applying color, there are a couple of choices. If you want to take more time, you want the project to last longer, you can color each individual line here a different color and create different patterns inside each area. Now that is some very time-consuming stuff, so if you want to do that, go for it. Otherwise, when you're adding color, using whatever tool you're using, you are just going to be coloring straight over the lines. Okay, you will see that adding the color has now made our negative space pop even more. You should leave your negative space white, but you can go ahead and erase those ends that we put in there for the negative space. And I alternated my colors to make it more interesting to look at. If you put the same colors next to each other, it will appear to be one large shape instead of all those fun different shapes and lines that we created together. Well, third grade, I hope you had fun getting to add color to your positive and negative space flowers. I know that creating all those lines was a lot of hard work, but it had such a great outcome. I'm so proud of you guys, and if you are proud of your flower, remember to post it to Seesaw or ask your parents nicely to send me an email with your picture inside of it so I can see it. I hope you have a great rest of your week and a fantastic weekend. Bye guys, I love you and I miss you.